Hey everyone, it is Willow. Welcome back. I'm going to start off today's video by asking you, what truth do you already know that you keep talking yourself out of? Okay. What a lot of people don't know is that truth is your intuition begging you to align with it so that you can receive all the abundance that is for you. You are choosing survival over authenticity when you are not listening to your truth, and that is something that I want to dive into today because it is so important for your growth and your evolution. What you're truly doing when you are ignoring this truth is you're self-betraying yourself, and usually self-betrayal is rooted in fear. It's the fear of abandonment, rejection, conflict, disappointing others, maybe the fear of being alone or feeling like you're too much or not enough. The core belief that is rooted in this fear is that love is conditional. Somewhere throughout your childhood, your upbringing, or conditions, maybe an emotional experience that your body will forever remember, you were taught that love is conditional, that your needs are not important, or that your feelings are not important, that peace is better than speaking your truth, that if you disappoint other people, they will reject you or abandon you. Conflict is dangerous. Wherever you're coming from and where your point stands, that root belief that love is conditional and that you have to act or behave a specific way, that usually is keeping you small in order for something to be safe or feel safe. When I think about self-betrayal, I think a lot about relationships, and not just romantic relationships, but this could be work relationships, friendships, even relationships that you have with your family, and how a lot of us self-betrayal to keep people in our lives or to keep the peace in specific situations. We kind of bite our own tongue at times and make ourselves small or allow things or certain situations to be brushed over that are very important because we have this fear that something bad is going to happen if we stand up for ourselves. This also ties very closely into nervous system dysregulation and maybe having a fawn nervous system response, which is like people pleasing, which the nervous system is something that we will get into because it is tied very closely to your nervous system and dysregulation of your nervous system state, which is why I'm a big advocate for regulating your nervous system and doing so much work on it, because you will see how much it changes a lot of your perceptions, beliefs, and just your mental in so many areas of your life. It's all just a ripple effect. Everything is so connected, so you might as well try to figure out if you can get down to a root cause. And if there is one area of your life that is suffering from something, there's a good chance that another area is as well. Doing the work unravels it all. It's like one big giant knot. You just start picking at it and it eventually becomes looser, and you will get to where you need to be and straighten into alignment. So because this core belief is in place, this is when you do the action that you wouldn't necessarily do. You say yes when you really want to say no. You stay silent when you want to speak up about something. You try to make peace with some type of situation just to, even if it bothers you, like just to make the other person feel better. You may stay too long in unhealthy situations, ignore intuitions or red flags. You may settle. You may also be performing a version of yourself that doesn't exist just for other people's approval. Silence your feelings. Silencing your feelings, I feel like, is a big one. Ladies, if you've ever said to yourself, I don't want to say anything because I don't want him to get mad, run. Run. You are self-betraying yourself. In terms of when it comes to your relation with anybody, you deserve for your feelings to be recognized, for them to be viewed as important, and you definitely deserve from that person the loving and careness that you would pour into yourself about your feelings and your emotions from them as well. The whole idea of self-betrayal is rooted in that love is conditional, and if you feel like you have to do something in order for that person to love you or to still love you, or I don't know, like care for you, that's a very big red flag, and it's something that you should listen to your intuition always, because it's trying to tell you something, and you know that your spirit knows that this situation isn't right. And then also not living up to your own word. So when you say something that you're going to do something, or you're going to act upon a certain way, I don't know, and then you just don't. That's also not living up to your own word. You're self-betraying yourself. With self-betrayal, there's a pattern. It starts off with that fear of abandonment and rejection, the fear of loneliness, fear of conflict, or whatever, whatever your fear stems from. And then it goes into that core belief that, okay, this fear kicks in, and this core belief that love is conditional and that I have to do X, Y, and Z in order to avoid whatever this fear is that's arising, or to silence or feel safe from this fear that is arising. And then that leads into you self-betraying. Now, after that self-betrayal comes the temporary satisfaction. And I want to talk about the temporary satisfaction. That temporary satisfaction is when you do the act of betrayal against yourself, and then you feel like you've made somebody happy. There's an avoidance of discomfort. You are being approved by somebody, or there's approval. You don't have to worry about if there's going to be like an argument or anything because you've kept the peace in a situation. What really comes with it is the feeling of safety. Like, you have told yourself and your nervous system, like, ooh, we are safe. Like, we're good to go. But that's always so temporary, because what ends up happening in the long run is you develop anxiety, maybe even depression. You could have resentment. You could have a loss of identity. You could be burnt out. You could have low self-trust with yourself in the future because you're like, well, I don't know which direction to go. And that's another one, confusion. Like, you're like, I don't know what I want anymore, because you think that you do the thing that's right, but then you don't feel good. And I'm going to get into that, because that is like the guiltiness that you always feel when you're self-betraying yourself, but you feel so guilty if you don't do it. Those who self-betrayal always feel guilt for putting themselves first, or like saying no, or not overstepping their own boundary. They feel guilty for doing that, where there are some people who genuinely have boundaries, stand on it, and they're like, no, I said no, it's no. The reason for that being is because you cannot separate the guiltiness or the self-shame from what is actually a wrongdoing. There's a difference between doing something that is wrong and a wrong action towards somebody versus your own guilt and shame for putting yourself first. Because you, again, have learned that like love is conditional. So when you think love is conditional, you think you have to do something for somebody to love you to feel safe. That is not true at all. The love that is supposed to surround you at all times is supposed to be unconditional. We are made in the Lord's image. The Lord is love. He is always going to continue to radiate that in every area of your life if you allow him to do so. And that means through people as well. He's going to bring you people that love you unconditionally, and that you can be truly authentically yourself, live in your truth, live in your purpose, live in your identity, and still be loved by all of those around you. Overextending yourself and putting yourself at harm's way just for that temporary satisfaction, that's going to end up causing you so many problems down the future. It's not worth it. I promise you, it is not worth it. Say no. Say no. And also, I have read a lot of the times, listened to podcasts, that women are so likely to develop autoimmune diseases if they suppress anger. And when I tell you that when you self-betray yourself, especially when it comes to like somebody that, you're just overextending yourself for, you later on down that line, that resentment can turn into anger, which can manifest into a sickness. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Put yourself first, but put yourself first in a way that isn't going to be selfish and harming to others, but that's going to pour into yourself, and still love yourself and put love at the highest priority for you. We're going to get into how to learn how to stop betraying yourself. That looks like living in your truth, setting your boundaries and standing on them, and also no longer avoiding. Like, don't avoid the truth. Don't avoid what could potentially bring you that discomfort. That's a really big one that I think a lot of people struggle with, because who wants to be uncomfortable? Nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Our nervous systems automatically gravitate towards familiarity, because our nervous system's job is obviously to protect us. They're like, we're going to stay away from all the danger, all the things that could potentially harm us. And if your nervous system can find a familiar cycle, a familiar pattern, a familiar environment, it's going to gravitate towards it because it knows how to protect itself in that environment. But what our nervous system does not know is that they don't have the eyes to see. They're not living this experience in life. So they're just going, your nervous system is going based off of patterns and recognition. You can't trust it. You have to lean into the truth and lean into what you know is correct and right. And that means disrupting those cycles and those patterns and those behaviors. So of course it's going to be uncomfortable and it's going to be nasty and not fun, but it's going to be so much worth it in the end. You're no longer going to find yourself in those patterns, that pattern of fear, and then the core belief, betrayal, that temporary satisfaction, and then the long-term damage that it's going to do for yourself. You learn how to be safe when you value your intuition. When you honor your intuition and honor yourself, you learn how to be safe. And I promise you, that is the exact place you want to be. You want to be able to feel safe within yourself because you can trust yourself. You can do things and make decisions easier, know what's right for you, and just live life a little bit more gracefully, knowing that you are there for yourself and that you've provided for yourself in so many, not like provided for yourself, obviously, but like, you know, that you've shown up for yourself in so many ways that other people don't. And also, you can't rely on other people or expect other people to pour into you in the way that you should be pouring into yourself. Always do it for yourself. Do those little things for yourself. And we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into some ways that you can learn how to stop self-betraying, because we are doing no more of that in 2026. The first step is obviously getting down to that root and getting down to that core. You have to figure out, what fear do you fear when you self-betray yourself? You have to ask yourself, what can I potentially lose if I don't honor myself? Like, what am I afraid of that will happen if I honor myself? You have to dig deep into that root and like understanding the fear surrounding the actions that you take. And a lot of the times that question will reveal the answer. If I say no, I won't be liked. If I do X, Y, and Z, this person will be sad. And as soon as you can figure out the answer towards it and you ask yourself that question, then you can start working on it and really training yourself to understand that you are safe even if you do X, Y, and Z, if you move this way, whatever. Once you figured out your fear, start showing up for yourself in very small ways. This can look like telling somebody that you just need time to think about a decision, or setting boundaries for yourself, very small boundaries. One thing I know a lot of people do when they first start this journey of like learning how to stop betraying themselves is they do the no text messages after like a specific time. So even with like work, they'll be like, all right, I'm not answering work calls or work texts after 9 p.m. And doing little boundaries like that, even showing up for yourself in very, very small ways. If you tell yourself, hey, tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym, make sure you wake up and you go to the gym. If, you know, there is a low risk situation where you can like speak honestly and speak your truth, do it. Don't avoid speaking your truth or stating an opinion. Rest when you're tired. When you are feeling tired, when you're feeling depleted, put yourself first. Do some skincare, get into the bed early, you know, put your phone down and watch a little show. Like, put yourself first, pamper yourself a little bit, show some love to yourself in those areas, or the areas that you feel like you're most lacking in. I will say, like, I know there's some people who are like really good for pouring love into themselves in terms of routines and, I don't know, like skincare or going to the spa. But then I also know there's other people who do struggle in that area. So pick an area where you feel like you don't show up for yourself a lot, but you show up for other people in, and start pouring into that area smaller and smaller, but also really leaning into that truth area. Where are you avoiding the truth? Recognize the truth, live in your truth. What do you truly avoid doing every single day to keep the peace of others that is also harming you? Mentally, you have to separate guiltiness from wrongdoing. So again, as I talked about earlier, that guiltiness is way different than doing something that is actually wrong. Being, or that feeling of guiltiness, usually stems from you thinking again that like, I'm not safe and I've done something wrong because this person responded this way, and that is not the truth at all. I also want to note in here that anybody who does get upset if you say no, or if you speak your truth, you share your feelings with them, you do something that obviously, like, makes the situation a little uncomfortable, like it doesn't have peace in it, but it's necessary for growth, and it's necessary for you to speak your truth and for the situation to actually be resolved. I will definitely say that the way that they respond tells you more about them than it does about you, because you have been like, hey, I'm trying to bring the truth into this situation. I'm trying to bring the truth to light here. And whatever is that they're dealing with, that they want to avoid it, or they don't want the truth to be exposed or recognized, it's a huge red flag, and it has nothing to do with you. I feel like a lot of the times that's where that guiltiness stems from, because you think like, oh no, I did something wrong because I spoke up, or I did something wrong because I said no, or I don't have the capacity for this at this time. And that's not the truth. With the guiltiness, that's where that nervous system state really stems in, that fawn state, the people pleasing one. If you genuinely feel like at times you people please and you're very aware of it, but you just don't know how to like stop it, I would say look into a fawn nervous system response and really get down to, okay, how can I disrupt this pattern and this behavior? Because I promise you it will help so much with self-betrayal. That's definitely like a root cause, I feel like, of self-betraying yourself. Now, this is where the real growth comes in, and it's learning to tolerate discomfort, tolerate the awkwardness, the conflict, the grief, the loneliness, the guiltiness that you feel. Growth is always going to feel uncomfortable. It is never, ever like, it never feels good. But at the end, again, that long run is going to show so much more fruits versus if you would have went the other route and sticked with that cycle and allowed yourself to get that temporary relief. The long run is always going to be the best option. Choosing the long route is always going to be over the short path for a very, very, very good reason. Good things take time, and when you genuinely work on this area of yourself and you're like, I'm no longer going to be betraying myself, and I'm going to start showing up for myself in the areas that I didn't before, there's so much that it's like a ripple effect. So much starts to come, so much good starts to come out of it. And of course, as always, it leads you closer to abundance. We want abundance. We want to be able to embody it and to experience it in our every single day life. Don't prevent yourself from what God is trying to give you, and God has made you in. He's made you in abundance. He's made you in greatness and all of his glory and his love, and he wants you to be able to experience that every single day on this earth. We disconnect from the truth to avoid pain, and next time you are making a decision, ask yourself if you are choosing love or if you're choosing fear. Keep honoring yourself in the ways that show love to you and show love to others. Continue to show up for yourself and be loyal to yourself. You are your best friend. You are what you got. Your soul is so beautiful, uniquely made, and you deserve, again, all of the abundance that is here for you. Don't allow anything to stop it, especially that self-betrayal. It's only going to drain you further along the line. And as somebody who has definitely healed from self-betrayal and is still in certain situations healing from it, it is so important to put yourself in a position that you know you are going to grow from and expand from and evolve from, because I promise you it will show up in so many other areas of your life. And that's what you want on this journey of self-discovery and rediscovering yourself. And you do never, ever, ever want to lose yourself. You are what you got. God has a mission and a plan and wants you to fulfill an assignment here on earth. And you cannot do that if you're disconnected from yourself. Learn who you are in Christ, learn who you are here and what you have to provide in his glory, in his greatness, and in service of others. But continue to show up for yourself and be loyal to you. You deserve love, and you are love, and love is going to continue to find you and gravitate towards you in every single area of your life. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me and watching today's video. I hope that you have an amazing day, and I will see you in another one. Bye.